Its historical significance as a Union headquarters during the Civil War made it a relic, but it also imbued it with an eeriness that was hard to shake. My encounters within its walls could easily be an anthology of spine-tingling tales, but one stands out above the rest. The stone cellar of our home was sectioned into 2 rooms, a place that always spiked my anxiety whenever I had to descend into its cold embrace for an errand. One such day, my parents had requested a trivial item stored in the depths of the cellar. I knew that it would be in the room that housed the boiler, an area shrouded in darkness due to a faulty light fixture. Descending into the cellar, my heart pounded in my chest as the anticipated darkness awaited me. Despite the uncooperative light, the faint illumination from the hallway spilled into the room just enough to reveal the object of my quest. I braved a few steps into the semi-darkness, secured the object, and glanced around instinctively. In the room's corner lurked a silhouette. It towered at about 6 feet, mirroring a human form. A feeling of temporary relief washed over me as I reasoned it to be my father's life-size John Wayne cutout stored in the basement. However, my relief was short-lived as I turned left and came face to face with the Duke himself, propped against the wall near the doorway. I spun around to find the shadowy figure had vanished, leaving only an empty corner where it had loomed just seconds before. Panic surged through me, and I sprinted out of the cellar, leaving the chilling emptiness behind. It was a good month before I could muster the courage to venture back into the basement again. Even today, the memory of the spectral figure in the cellar lingers, reminding me of the house's dark past and the unnerving encounters that took place within its age-old walls. Suddenly, the silence was broken by the same screech, only now it sounded painfully human, resonating from the main warehouse. The door slammed shut once again, and I bolted, driving until I regained cell reception and could call my father. Upon my father's arrival, we ventured back into the warehouse. I showed him the uncanny door and described the eerie events. Skeptical yet intrigued, we decided to check the main warehouse, a former furniture manufacturing site now cloaked in a thick layer of dust. The hanging fluorescent light fixture was askew and swaying gently, but everything else seemed normal. The dust was undisturbed, the windows locked, but as I climbed up a stepladder to check the light, I found something horrifying. A single, abnormally large handprint atop the light, devoid of any corresponding footprints in the dust. Despite my protestations of this abnormality, my father insisted it must have been a thief, urging me to continue work next time. His words, however, were drowned out by the familiar thud, now amplified into a shaking, as if the building itself was shuddering. The blood-curdling screech reverberated around us, seeming to emanate from the very walls. We fled, leaving the echoes of that haunted place behind. Since then, my father hired a replacement to finish my work, and he has moved into the office. He's heard the ominous thuds, but thankfully the screeching has not returned. I remain haunted by the unnerving experiences, sure that something otherworldly resides in that building, and certain that the man who sold us the warehouse was aware of it. The horrifying memory of that lock turning on its own, the overwhelming silence. It's a ghost story I wish I wasn't part of. My 9-year-old self was in a state of emotional turmoil. We were packing up our life, box by box, preparing to leave the only home I'd ever known. It was during the midst of a tumultuous thunderstorm that my toys, safely secured in their boxes, began to emit sounds as if in the throes of play. My mother brushed it off as an effect of the electrically charged storm, a reasoning I accepted then. But today I suspect she was simply comforting herself. My younger sister had always had her imaginary friends. It was common, I presumed, for a 5-year-old, but there was an unsettling feeling that had accompanied these invisible playmates. On nights when I stayed up late to catch Adult Swim, I felt a chilling gaze on me from the hallway leading to her room. It was a sensation that intensified as we prepared for the move. Even now, my heart races at the recollection of the final day. We were loading the last of our belongings into the truck when I decided to make a final sweep of the house. Descending into the basement, a place of countless hours spent engrossed in N64, I was suddenly washed over by an intense wave of sadness. It felt as if I was bidding farewell to my childhood. Trying to compose myself quickly, I muttered a soft goodbye to the house, anthropomorphizing it in my grief. But then it happened. A voice, eerily childlike, responded, "See you later." I froze. On turning around, I spotted a red ball on the floor, a ball I couldn't recall leaving there. Overcome with terror, I bolted from the house, jumped into the car, and demanded my mother leave the ball behind. In the years that followed, we all confessed to seeing the same red ball during our final walkthrough of the house. Only my sister and I had heard the voice, but the sight of the ball alone was enough to send shivers down my parents' spines. I don't typically believe in the supernatural, but something inexplicable lived in that house. To this day, it incites a bone-chilling fear within me, a testament to the haunting whispers of a home we left behind.